Hey everybody, it's Sam from Viral Media Network, and we're back at it with the knowledge cards put on by the Library of Congress every day for Black History, drawing a card. Now, of course, you're saying, hey, wait, it's March. Black History Month is over. Well, started to do this in the month of February, got busy, and didn't finish it, so here I am catching back up. It's day 11, so here we go. I shuffle it 3 times and pick a card out of the deck. Are you ready? Had some good ones so far. Let's give you a quick overview of who we had before. Ralph Abernathy. Segregation, mainly in the military. Stokely Carmichael. Well, this one in particular, this one notes about being integrated in the military and coming back home after serving, African Americans serving their country and coming back and still being segregated against and persecuted against in their own country. Stokely Carmichael. The student movement and Black Power. E.D. Nixon. School desegregation. I always mess that up. Danny Lyon. That was day 8. James Farmer. That was yesterday. And day 9. John Lewis. Alright. Here's the rest of the deck. I'm going to shuffle it 3 times and pick a card for day 11. Are you ready? It's exciting because, you know, some of these I've known, some of these cards I've pulled I already knew about, but I learned something even if I already knew a little bit about it, you know. And a lot of these cards I didn't know. I had never heard of Danny Lyon before, or you know, maybe I was taught it way back when and forgot about it. But you know, some very good cards and really informative, and I'm glad I did this because you know, makes me, like I said in some other videos, is learning about these events, trying to think about it in today's atmosphere between racial tensions and the left versus the right and everything being so polarized. You know, it was a pretty polarized time back then, and you know, in different ways. In a lot of similar ways. Okay, here we go. Brown versus Board of Education. Now, we had already read the school desegregation, and with Thurgood Marshall leading that case, particularly as it pertains to graduate school and law schools and on the collegiate level integrating. But I believe this is on the on the public school and grade school level. On May 17th, 1954, the Supreme Court announced its historic Brown versus Board of Education decision, declaring segregation of public schools unconstitutional. Not only did the court reject the 1896 Plessy versus Ferguson decision, the separate but equal decision, which ruled separate facilities legal as long as they were equal. But it also concluded that separate educational facilities are inherently unequal. In 1955, the court issued the Brown 2 decision, charging communities to desegregate their schools with all deliberate speed. Because I guess they had set forth the standard, but you know, Jim Crow states and you know, people that didn't want to comply sort of stalled and dragged their feet to make the change. But it set no timetables and left specific decisions up to local courts, up to lower courts. In most communities, strong local opposition to integration produced long delays and bitter conflict. By the fall of 1957, when this photograph of Dorothy Counts was taken in Charlotte, North Carolina, only 684 of 3,000 affected southern school districts had even begun to desegregate their schools. 684 out of 3,000. That's, not even less than a third. Maybe a little over a sixth. These young people, like Counts, who integrated all white schools, were often taunted, harassed, and threatened with violence. So we'll probably draw a card about the Little Rock Nine, and Little Rock, Arkansas being the first to integrate schools. But this is a very famous photograph, and that's another reason why I love these knowledge cards, is because it integrates these very iconic photos with history lessons. So lots of stuff going on here. First of all, we think like, Plessy versus Ferguson was lifted and all was well. Well, no, like doesn't just change things, right? We're we're relearning that in today's racial climate. But 684 schools out of the 3,000 school districts. Sorry, not schools. 684 school districts out of 3,000 integrated. And that was after 2 years. And so they had to make an amendment, the Brown 2, as they would call it. The second ruling, that they would have to expedite and do it in a speedy manner. And it still didn't fix things. And you could also argue that, things are probably still pretty segregated down in the South. A lot of that is tied up with, what do they call it, socioeconomic factors. But, when you learn about redlining and other sorts of ways that legal segregation was allowed, it kept these things going. So, laws are important. Laws can only go so far, because if you don't enforce the laws or the local sentiment, the majority of the local sentiment, in the Jim Crow South is not wanting to make this change. They're going to drag their feet. They're going to do everything they can. So Brown versus Board of Education is the card we picked today for day 11. Lots to unpack there. And again, as mentioned in videos before, this could turn into a long, just this card alone could turn into a podcast, could turn into a whole litany of things to go through about the public education system and the disparities there in poor and rich communities and how that breaks down racially. But these are really just an entry point and for everyone to get a feel of what happened in the Civil Rights Movement. So once again, day 11, Brown versus Board of Education is our card from the Knowledge Cards of the Library of Congress. I'm Sam from Fiber Media Network. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button, dislike it, leave a comment, tell me what you think, subscribe if you like the channel. You can check out other great videos. The iCards have been popping up throughout the video, or check out the end screen, all this stuff right here. Hope you like it. We'll see you tomorrow for day 12 of the Knowledge Cards. Thanks again for watching.